Ned Fulmer is the biggest idiot on the internet right now.
I don't think it's fair that as a society you're put in that position. It's certainly not true.
A few years ago, Ned Fulmer was caught in the biggest cheating scandal on the internet. And for quite some time after being caught, he completely went radio silent. Except for one statement right before his eventual hiatus, which read, "Family should have always been my priority, but I lost focus and had a consensual workplace relationship. I'm sorry for any pain that my actions may have caused to the guys and the fans, but most of all to Ariel. The only thing that matters right now is my marriage and my children, and that's where I'm going to focus my attention." This cheating scandal not only blindsided his then wife Ariel, but it also shocked every single fan who loved to watch the Try Guys. You see, Ned had this brand or persona online, one that saw him be overly obsessed with his wife. They'd make TikToks together, and in almost every single Try Guys video, Ariel would be mentioned. Ned's obsession with Ariel and being a husband was so popular, in fact, that there were full YouTube videos just for all the times that Ned mentioned Ariel in the videos. And these videos accumulated a ton of views. This situation wasn't cut and dry. It's not like Ariel went through his phone and saw that he was cheating on it. It was actually brought to her attention by fans of the channel who saw Ned out with the show's producer named Alex. This wasn't just one or two videos though. There were tons of videos that surfaced online shortly after this scandal came out. Obviously, this says a lot about Ned and his respect towards Ariel and the guys. It's one thing to cheat on your wife and keep it extremely secret, to a point that it would be difficult for anyone to prove it, but Ned got to a point where he just didn't care at all about Ariel and started to go on dates with her out in public and kiss her in broad daylight with everyone watching. This was a guy who was on a YouTube channel with over 7 million subscribers. For him to think that no one would notice or even recognize him in public was just stupid. But I think stupid isn't the right word for this situation. I think Ned just didn't care anymore. Maybe he valued his relationship with Alex more than Ariel, but instead of just breaking up with Ariel, he kept it a secret so that it didn't affect his online persona and damage the reputation of the Try Guys. The main staple of the Try Guys is their branding and being very relatable. They just seemed like a group of guys that you could meet up with on any given weekend and just hang out with. They didn't seem or act like they were insanely popular to a point where they just wouldn't talk to you if they saw you out in public. So it was relatable. But Ned destroyed that image after being exposed. Now, shortly after being exposed, the Try Guys did an investigation into the incident, and all the evidence that came back helped them make the decision to get rid of Ned. On Twitter, they make a statement saying, "Ned Fulmer is no longer working with the Try Guys. A result of a thorough internal review, we do not see a path forward together. We thank you for your support as we navigate this challenge." A couple weeks after this post, the Try Guys posted a video explaining the situation, stating that they started to edit Ned out of videos that were already posted to the channel and out of videos that were going to be posted in the future. But they also stated that Ned has lost them a ton of money and gave them a negative reputation. They condemned him for his actions and stood with Ariel, which was very nice to see.
On Labor Day weekend, multiple fans alerted us that they had seen Ned and an employee engaging in public romantic behavior. We reached out to check on that employee. Ned confirmed the reports and since confirmed that this had been going on for some time, which was obviously very shocking to us, and we just want you to know that we had no idea this was going on. All of that information was just as shocking to us as all of this has been for you this week.
And thus began a 3-week process of engaging with employment lawyers, corporate lawyers, HR, PR, and more, in order to make sure we were taking all necessary steps. From the jump, we were acutely aware of just how contrary this was to the values of the company we've built and those of everyone who works here. This is something we took very seriously. We refused to sweep things under the rug. That is not who we are, and it's not what we stand for.
We immediately removed Ned from work activities and engaged an HR professional to conduct a thorough review of the facts. We also opted to remove Ned from our releases pending the results of that review. Over a few weeks, that's included removing his section from videos, digitally removing him from others, and choosing not to feature him in our merch throws. Honestly, I want to give major props to our editing staff for how deftly they've handled that. There are several videos that we've deemed as fully unreleasable. You will never see them, and that is due to his involvement. And that's a decision that has cost us lots of money. We will not be able to recoup that money, but it's a decision we stand by proudly.
Now, we can't talk about the details of the review, but suffice to say, we found that Ned had engaged in conduct unbecoming of our team, and we knew that we could not move forward with him. So on Friday, September 16th, the three of us signed written consent of the members of Second Try LLC approving the removal of Ned as a manager and an employee.
As time went on, Ned was taken out of the banner of their Twitter account, and he was also phased out of all their videos from the previous years and also in the future, and eventually was forgotten about altogether. That was up until a few weeks ago when Ned started to say that he was going to start a podcast and how the first episode was going to be with his ex-wife Ariel. There's actually a video posted by E! News where in it, Ned states in a separate interview that they are still together and are working on everything through intense couples therapy. But this was a contradiction because during the podcast, one of the first things that they both state was that they are no longer together and haven't been together for the better part of 3 years.
Are we together?
We are not together. We live separately. We are devoted co-parents to our two beautiful, beautiful children. Wes, who is 7, and Finn, who is almost 5.
Are we dating other people?
I mean, I'm open to dating other people. I mean, yes,
Yeah.
yes, we are dating other people. Yeah.
Will you ever be returning to some of your past work?
What kind of work?
Like your old podcast?
No.
I'm not sure if that's just the media site messing up or if Ned actually said this to try and get people to watch the podcast because he wants them to think that they are still together and wants to see how Ariel went through it. But regardless, it was strange. But now we actually have to talk about the podcast as a whole. This first episode I felt was very terrible. It was supposed to dive into everything that happened between Ned and Ariel, and I would think that Ned would have been at least a little bit more apologetic seeing how upset Ariel was during this podcast. But Ned had excuses for pretty much everything that was brought up against him. There was a part during the podcast where Ariel straight up asked Ned what happened, like with the whole Alex situation and why he would cheat on her in the first place. And Ned said this.
What happened?
Well, the dream started to break apart for me, and then rather than being able to talk about it or to confront those feelings, I wanted to, I guess I was too afraid to say how I was actually feeling, and it seemed, I don't know, I chose to deal with it and deal with like feelings that I was experiencing in a way that was really self-destructive and hurtful to you. Wasn't like anything you did or like we had a bad marriage.
This has to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my whole entire life. Ned at this time was a parent of 2 kids under the age of 6. His wife was in a lot of his videos and he was working with her a ton. His videos with the Try Guys were fun to make and pulled in a hefty paycheck for him. And he had a great reputation with everyone loving his character. So even if Try Guys were to eventually split, anything that he would have done afterwards, the fans with the Try Guys would have followed him. To throw that all away because the dream was crumbling is a lame excuse. Ned should have spoke to his wife about how he was feeling about everything that was going on in his life, but he didn't. You see, communication in a relationship is key to being successful and happy and having a long relationship with somebody. Ned took an alternate route and stopped communicating with his wife and instead communicated with his producer, which once again blindsided Ariel. The dream that Ned spoke about could have been achieved if he sat down and talked to Ariel about how he was feeling and how he wasn't as invested in the marriage anymore. But instead, he was a coward and went behind her back and started cheating on her with somebody that he worked with. During the podcast, Ned asked Ariel if she forgave him, and she said no. After this first episode, Keith from the Try Guys responded to this, I guess the launch of the Rock Bottom podcast.
The Try Guys are sharing their thoughts on Ned Fulmer dropping his new podcast, and they are not holding back. If you didn't know, Ned has returned to the internet dropping a new podcast called Rock Bottom, and his first episode was with Ariel. Keith first posted this video on TikTok saying, "Just don't look."
Don't look, just don't look.
He then took to his Instagram story sharing this message. He said, "Now sounds like a great time to remind everybody that we have been creating so many great new shows with our new TryCast on Second Try. Everything we make is about exploring the world around us with joy and an open mind. We hope you come by and check it out." Obviously, seeing this podcast by Ned, I'm sure it's kind of like a slap in the face to them. Now, wouldn't be shocked at all if we hear them talk about it in the future on their Tripod podcast. With this podcast dropping, I'm sure the mood at Second Try is insane today. If there's one thing I loved about this whole podcast, Ariel did not hold back. She shared she does not forgive Ned, and she's only doing the podcast to move on with life. At one point, Ned said that's really hard to hear, and Ariel literally laughed. And if you don't want to watch the podcast but want to see a whole recap, I just posted one, so go and check it out. And how do you think the Second TryCast is feeling today?
This first episode was uncomfortable to watch. There were a lot of unsettling moments, and a lot of people feel like Ned wasn't actually sorry for what he did to Ariel.
Not only did you having an affair just it shattered our marriage, but it also, like, all of that guilt and shame, you like hoisted that on me. Like, you gave that to me. And now I have to carry that around for the rest of my life.
I don't think it's fair that as a society you're put in that position. It's certainly not true. And no, it's not something that I imagined as I was doing that. I think none of it was. If you really like let it sink in just how much you're hurting your partner and how devastating it is, like, how could you do that? It's still very difficult now, even 3 years later, to see you in pain as you're talking about that. Because there's nothing I can do to change the past or to help.
It's kind of weird to think about it now, because I feel like I'm in a really good place now, and going back to like before I discovered the affair, it feels like going back to this weird fantasy world where like, I don't know, I thought we had this love that like transcended, I don't know. But it was a fantasy. It was like, you know, I trusted you so completely.
It's kind of like the thing where you're not sorry, you just were caught. So I don't think Ned was necessarily sorry to Ariel. I think he was just sorry because he was caught and it was something that he had to do. I think if those videos never got taken and they were never sent to Ariel, I think you'd probably still be cheating on her today. So I don't really believe the "I'm sorry" phrase. Now, the same way that he put her on the pedestal when he was with the Try Guys and got views from that, I think he thought that he could get a ton of videos and positive viewers on this podcast or the first episode as well just by having her on. But she dominated this conversation and left Ned speechless for parts of the podcast and ultimately made him look like an idiot that he was. Now, the YouTube channel that has the Rock Bottom podcast has over 64,000 subscribers on it, but I saw online that this channel was rebranded from a previous channel that he owned, so I don't think all of those subscribers are coming to support this new content that he's diving into. The description of the channel reads, "Everyone makes mistakes. Some of us, really big ones. But what comes next? Rock Bottom is a show that explores people's lowest, most embarrassing, and challenging moments, featuring raw, unfiltered conversations with comedians, creators, authors, and celebrities. We talk about how they not only survived it all, but transformed their lives. Hosted by Ned Fulmer, the ex-BuzzFeed Try Guys co-creator, whose own Rock Bottom ranked number 6 on Time's most viral moments of 2022. The show blends curiosity and empathy to show stories of experience, strength, and hope. Because sometimes the only way out is through one podcast at a time. I hate this description. To me, it seems like he's playing into this rock bottom persona, and I'm not talking about The Rock, but yeah. Where he states, whose own Rock Bottom's ranked number 6 on Time's most viral moments of 2022, just seems like a weird and strange thing to put there. It doesn't give me the vibe of someone who is truly sorry for what he did to the fans, his friends, and to his wife. And again, don't forget, to his kids. It just seems like Ned is fully capitalizing off of something that he did wrong. Or his YouTube money finally all dried up. I don't think this podcast is going to give him a positive outcome, and him being the face of this channel that's supposed to be positive and shed a light on cheating or hitting rock bottom, I don't think it's going to end well for him. I don't know. I think he's an idiot who is trying to make as much money as possible. I think he's also been someone who is all for himself, but masked it very well, especially during his videos. I'm curious to see what happens with this podcast, but if anything else comes out of it, I'll let you know or make a follow-up video. I also don't know what's going to happen as far as the next guest that he'll have on the podcast. Who knows, maybe he'll have Alex on next time to talk about their relationship. I think he would probably do something so stupid like that, but I also don't want to believe that at the same time. But do you remember this whole Ned Fuller situation? If so, let me know how you feel about him in the comments down below. I did make a poll to see if you guys actually liked it or hated it or whatever you guys felt about it, and an overwhelming majority of you guys said that you hated it. So yeah, Ned Fulmer doesn't have the reputation that he may think that he has. But leave it down in the comments down below how you feel about him. And while you're down there, you might as well subscribe to the channel and please leave a like and also hype the video out. It helps the video a lot. So thank you again. And don't forget to turn on your post notifications as well to never miss a single new video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.